Therwan Saranai. Today, let's talk about something universal. Something that every religion has, but they use different names. Therefore, the ego, as the ego wants to separate everything, the ego has named them, or ego has named it as different names. But it is universal. That is the truth. If the ego is identified with Christianity, you may think that you are a Christian. With Buddhism, you think that you are a Buddhist. But ultimately, we all are human beings. Nowadays, it's really difficult for us to find a human being because all of them are Christians, Muslims, Buddhists, Hindus. Therefore, they can fight each other. The ego wants fight, ladies and gentlemen. The ego wants separateness. With the separateness, the ego wants to fight against others because the ego always feels that I'm correct. I'm the correct one. Others are wrong. I'm suffering because of others. That's how the ego feels. Therefore, the ego wants to separate the world as well as the ego wants to fight each other. However, the ego doesn't want equality, equanimity. The ego doesn't want all these things. The ego wants to be identified separately. Therefore, the ultimate truth is also separated to different names. Therefore, they have different religions. But no one can understand the truth. Because the ego never understands the truth, ladies and gentlemen, because the ego is so ignorant. And actually the father of the ego is ignorance. The ego is created with the ignorance, or with ignorance, I would say. Here, we know the mind, the process of the mind is Rupa Vedana Sanya Sankara Vijnana. I use Pali terms for these things. This is the process of the mind. We have discussed about this. When the process of the mind occurs, the process of defilement is also created. The end of that, ego is created. The root of the ego is ignorance. Therefore, actually the ignorance is the father of the ego. Therefore, the ego can't think wisely. Perhaps it's intelligent. It's not wise, but this is not wise, ladies and gentlemen. Because his father is ignorance. If father is a fool, how can we expect a wise son? It is not applicable in the society, but here. In this case, the ego can't see the truth. The ego can't understand the truth. The ego always wants to fulfill its wantings. Due to ignorance, attachment is created. Due to attachment, wantings are created. This is a very important point. Wantings are created. This attachment, if you want, you can name it as desires. Desires. You know that you have desires. Today, if you have a desire, tomorrow you will have another. When you listen to someone, you will have another. When you watch a movie, a documentary, you will have another. Then perhaps you want to fight against bad, evil. Because you got that desire. Perhaps you want to fight against poverty. Because that's your desire. You got that. Because you watched a movie. The hero of the movie did that, and you were impressed, and a desire is created here. I always use created because all these things are processes, ladies and gentlemen. Or we can use manifest. The ego manifests. Wanting manifest. Desire manifest. That's how it is. Then a desire manifests here. When you have a desire, you have a wanting. When you have a wanting, the mind is vexed. That means vexation is there. Now the mind is vexed. Now the mind has to do something to come out of vexation. Now the mind doesn't want to think wisely. Because it has a problem. When you have a problem, when you are vexed, you don't want to think wisely. Somehow you want to come out of vexation. That's your plan, and that's what you do most of the time. And you don't think about goodness and badness or whatever it is. You won't be righteous at that time. You won't be good or bad. You just need to come out of vexation. Therefore, you always try to find the nearest path, the easiest path to come out of vexation. Most of the time, that is evil. That's why the ego is evil. That's how we see. When you have a desire, you are vexed. You know that. You are vexed. Perhaps if you are late to come to the sermon, there's a traffic jam, then you wanted to come to the sermon because you have a desire, but they don't drive fast. And you were vexed at that time, if you can remember. If you wanted to eat something, and if you don't have that, then you were vexed. Therefore, you wanted to achieve it somehow. That's why perhaps you blamed someone. This is how it is. When the mind is vexed, you can't come out of that. And you can't be wise at that time. Therefore, we can't expect the ego to be wise, ladies and gentlemen. It is not. Therefore, the ego can't see the truth. And the other thing is, the ego wants to separate the world. Therefore, the ego always creates new names. If you see a flower, if you can name it differently, you do that. You means the ego. Because the ego wants to see different things, separate things, unique things. This is how it can be satisfied. Because the ego thinks that everything is separated in this world. That view is really dangerous, ladies and gentlemen. To prove that view, actually the ego separates everything. But the truth is the truth. That can't be separated. It can't be separated, therefore the ego gives different names. By doing that, it can feel that separateness. After that, the ego creates religions. A religion is an organization. That means an entity. If something is an entity, that's ego's favorite. Because the ego feels that everything is an entity, and the ego wants to feel or experience entities. Therefore, when it experiences an entity, it wants it to be strengthened. Therefore, when there is a religion, egoistic people try to protect that religion. To protect that, they believe that religion is the best. The truth is in the religion. Other religions don't follow the truth. Therefore, they are bad. They are the evil. That's how the ego thinks. It's unwise. Therefore, it's really difficult for us to teach them. But if you have the dharma, now you can see if we have the dharma, I can use the dhamma, that's one word for the truth. Dharma, that's another word for the truth. Dhamma is in Pali, the Buddha used that word. Dharma, that's Sanskrit. Bhagavan Krishna used it. Righteousness, that's English. Jesus Christ used it. Everything is the same. That's how I have seen, ladies and gentlemen. Righteousness. Let me talk about it. Righteousness. Ignorance is actually unrighteousness. The Dhamma is righteousness. I will prove it to you. Righteousness. When we talk about righteousness, probably you think that righteousness is goodness. Then why do you use goodness then? If righteousness is goodness, then why do we have two names? Righteous is not goodness. Righteous is not badness. Righteousness is righteousness. That means what is right. You can't have two versions of right, ladies and gentlemen. If something is right, that is right. In that case, actually, we talk about the truth. We don't have two versions, only one version. The truth. In this case, we can see in the presence of ignorance, you can't expect this to be wise. That means the mind doesn't have the Dhamma. The mind doesn't associate with righteousness. The mind is not righteous in this time, at this time. Therefore, the mind makes wrong decisions. Due to those decisions, the ego manifests. With ignorance, the ego manifests. If you can eradicate ignorance by applying the Dhamma, that means righteousness. By applying righteousness, then the ego doesn't manifest. To understand this easily, I will use a Bible quote if you want. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they shall be filled. When you talk about be filled, hunger and thirst, people only think about hunger. They touch their belly and say hunger and thirst. But great teachers who has seen the world, who has seen the truth, they don't talk about your belly, ladies and gentlemen. That can be filled easily, but your mind can't be filled. It's really difficult to fill your mind. Belly can be easily filled. Stomach can be easily filled. In this case, if you thirst and hunger for righteousness, you will be filled. That means, if you are looking for righteousness, that means what is right. If you're keen to understand this, one day you will be filled. You will be filled means, now you can see, in your life, there's a huge void. Whatever you do, you can't be satisfied. You always have a void. But by doing something, you try to fill it. You try to be completed. But always you feel that void. It's a huge void, ladies and gentlemen. Whatever you do, finally you feel the same. That's why you can't be satisfied. You always find a method to fill yourself. But you can't be filled because you are not righteous. If you are unrighteous, the ego manifests. Ego can't be satisfied anyway. Ego can't be satisfied. The ego always has a void. Because the ego has wantings. The ego is vexed. Therefore, the ego can't be satisfied. If you try to satisfy it, it never happens. That's why, if you try to satisfy the mind, actually you don't have to do that. Because the mind doesn't have any void to be satisfied. The mind doesn't have any wanting to be satisfied. The mind is not vexed to come out of vexation. The mind is the purest. You are the mind, ladies and gentlemen. You are the mind. But due to ignorance and attachment, now you became the ego. That's why you suffer. That's why the Buddha asks us to be righteous. Or the Buddha asks us to associate with the dharma. The Buddha taught us, Dhammaramo Dhammarato. You need to create a monastery of Dhamma. That means that's your dwelling. You have to create an immersive environment of the Dhamma. Then you can be in it. You can live in it. Then you can always associate the Dhamma. This is how you should practice. You should always practice with the Dhamma. You should always associate with the Dhamma. When you associate with the Dhamma, now ignorance doesn't have a place to play or part to play. With the environment of the Dhamma, ignorance can't manifest. Therefore, the ego can't manifest. That means you will experience the mind. In that case, you won't have vexation, you won't have wantings. Therefore, you don't have to do anything to come out of vexation, then you will achieve happiness. But if you try to achieve something, that means you are not happy, ladies and gentlemen. You can wear a smile on your face, but you can't be happy. You can show to the world that you are happy by wearing a smile. But that's not the way to be happy. If you really want to be happy, you need to experience your mind, not the ego. If you experience the ego, that means if you are the ego, then you will only experience vexation. those wantings, desires. When you have a desire, you definitely have aversion, anger, resentment. You always hold a grudge against others because you can't forget. You can't leave them behind. You can't let it go because that's your identification, ladies and gentlemen. That's your identification. You means the ego. Then if you are the ego, let's talk about yourself. But if you are the mind, and let's talk about your enemy. This is the enemy. You can decide. Who do you want to be? The ego or the mind? You decide that. Then if you want to be the mind, actually you are the mind. That means this is the Buddha, this is Mara. This is God, and this is devil. Choose between those. Then definitely you will choose the Buddha, because the Buddha is within you. The Mara is created. And the Buddha is subdued. The Buddha is overwhelmed. Therefore, you can't experience the Buddha. But it's within you. The mind, the pure mind. That's why we always try to eradicate this process, ladies and gentlemen. We can actually. But to do so, you need to be righteous. That means you need to associate the truth. When you associate the truth, you will be filled. Filled means when you associate the truth, when you are righteous, then you can definitely eradicate the ego. That means that means the ego never manifests. If you associate the dharma, that means when you are righteous. Try to understand that word, righteous. It's really difficult for you to be righteous, ladies and gentlemen, but you can be good. Goodness is within you. You can learn goodness from society. Help others. That's goodness. It has another name, merits. In Sanskrit holy books, there's a sloka, stanza. It says, Paropakaraha punyaya papang parapidana. Helping others is merit. Destroying others is sin. But that is not righteousness. Anicca. What is that? That's righteousness. Because you can't change them. Those are universal. Anicca, dukkha, anatta. That's righteousness. You can't change them. That's not good. Is anicca good? Is anicca good? No. You can't talk about, you can't say that it is good or bad. That's the truth. Is the truth good? Is the truth bad? You can't talk about that either. Here, we only talk about what is right. What is right and wrong. If you have right views, which means anicca, dukkha, anatta, right views, you don't have the ego. You will only experience this. The mind. You will perceive everything like you perceive right now. You will see colors and you will perceive them. You will hear sounds and you will perceive them. You will act. You will talk. To talk, you don't want the ego, ladies and gentlemen. To talk, you only need the mind. Because first of all, you need to think what to talk. Then you need to create words or sound patterns. You need to create that. That is called vachi sankara. Before you speak, before you talk, you need to create them in your mind. That is vachi sankara. You need the mind to do that. Kaya sankara. To pass orders to the body, to move, to raise your hand. The mind has to take decisions. The mind has to make a pattern. The mind makes the pattern and it gives to the brain. Then brain sends signals to muscles, then body movements occur. This is how it works. In that case, you can see the ego doesn't have anything to do. But the ego is created. The ego forms, manifests with vexation. And a whole lot of wantings, desires, dreams, goals. That means the ego always think about the future. Dream. Do you have a dream which is in the past? You can say that I had a dream, but can you have a dream in the past? You can't. A goal? You can't. You always need to make a goal in the future. Because the ego wants to associate with the future. Therefore, the ego creates the future, ladies and gentlemen. Actually, the future is a creation of the ego. Otherwise, there is no such thing called future. Everything happens in the present moment. Present means not the present what people talk about. The present time, that's not. The present means when the causes come together, an effect is created. That is called present. Then if you take the present as what I said, then we will use that word, the present. When causes come together, an effect manifests. This is how it is. In this case, you can see the ego manifests due to these causes. The mind is created due to its own causes. The mind can do everything. You act in the present. Can you act in the past? Can you make any action in the past? Please show me. Any action. Raise your hand in the past. Can you do that? You can't. Can you raise your hand in the future? Show me. You can't. Can you talk in the past? Can you talk in the past? Now you are here. Can you talk in the past? No. You can't do anything in the past. Then why are you talking about the past? Then why are you talking about the future? Because the ego wants to do that. Because the ego feels that it's an entity. If it is an entity, it should have 3 times. It should have to create 3 times. But actually you don't have a past, ladies and gentlemen. You have a memory. You have a memory. Then you always take your memory and you try to connect them. You mean the ego. I would say ego. The ego always tries to make a chain, another entity. Because the past, here if I draw a timeline, you can see this is the present, yeah? This is the present and this is the past. This is the future. Look at that. Future is not a small point. The past is not a small point. Therefore, the ego likes past and the future rather than being in the present. Because present is very small. But actual present is not small, it is invisible. Why? It's not the present. How many minutes are there? How many seconds are there? We can't find time. That means actually it doesn't have a time. That's why it acts according to the theory of cause and effect. Therefore, we can't talk with time. We can't introduce it with time. Therefore, actually, if I draw a dot, that's also wrong. But let me do that. This is the present. Therefore, the ego doesn't like to be in the present, ladies and gentlemen. That's why you always try to think about your past. When you think about your past, then you can feel the entity. You have been there. Because the ego always wants to think that it's an entity. And with that, you try to take your memories and you try to create the future. Now you have a future. That means now the ego has a future and the past. But you know that everything happens in the present. Everything happens in this point. That's why I told you, you can't act, you can't talk, you can't think. Can you see in the past? Okay. See in the past. Can you see this? Can you see this right now? You can see this because this is the present. You can see this now. That means this rupa form is created. Now, after that, the process occurs and perception is created. Perception forms. After that, you can see this clearly. It happens in the present. Can you see this in the past? No. Can you hear this sound in the past? No. Can you smell something in the past? No. Can you think in the past? No. You always think in the present, about the past. You take your past memories to the present because the present, only the present exists, ladies and gentlemen, not the past and the future. But the ego likes to be in the past because it has a huge journey. I have been there. That's why the ego loves history. If you know the history of the country, then you will feel that, oh, we have been there. This is our country. This is our nation. This is not yours. You are others. That's how it is. That's how people feel. That's why people fight for their rights. But actually they don't know about their right. And actually they don't know about what is right. Everything happens in the present, ladies and gentlemen. That's how you should contemplate. Everything happens in the present. Walk. Just walk. That's actually walking itself is meditation. Just walking. But you must know the dharma. Dharma means you must be righteous. Know the dharma is not enough actually. Understand the dharma and be in the dharma. That means you have to create the monastery of the dharma and you should ordain yourself in the monastery. Not ordain means, you don't want this. But if you are young and You have time. I can't say young people have time. Perhaps they will die before elders. Well, however, in this case, this is different. This is a different story, ladies and gentlemen. You can ordain yourself. You can ordain in the monastery of the Dhamma, which is created by you. That means, first of all, you need to listen to the Dhamma, understand it properly. After that, when you contemplate, the monastery is created in your mind. That means now you are righteous. When you are righteous, the Dhamma is applied. When the Dhamma is applied, the ego can't manifest. This is how you should win this war. Then if you are righteous, now you just need to walk. When you walk, and if you can contemplate that action, you will be akalika. Akalika means, we can say that you will be in the present, but not the time again. Akalika. That means you won't have 3 times. That means you will be the mind. Because the mind doesn't have 3 times, only the ego has 3 times. 3 times means the present, the past, and the future. Because this is not an entity, ladies and gentlemen. This is a process. Each thing happens each time. This is a process. You can't say that it takes a minute. You can't say that. When causes come together, an effect is created. This is how it applies. In this case, this is akalika. Can I use that word akalika? Because I can't find an English word for that. Perhaps we have, but I can't find. Akalika. Akalika means it doesn't belong to 3 times. If I say timeless, is that okay? Actually, we can use these words, but the only problem is, can you get the meaning? When I say timeless, if you can get the meaning, yes, let's go with that. It doesn't mean that it doesn't take time. Time is not applied. Because time is applied to entities. That's what I wanted to tell you. Time is applied to entities. The mind is not an entity. The ego is an entity. That's why actually the ego is also not an entity, it's also a process. But the ego feels that it's an entity. That's why the ego wants to create the past and the present and the future. With that, the ego is satisfied. The ego feels that, yes, I am an entity. Therefore, it's kalika, because kalika means time is involved here. But here, we can't talk about the time. Therefore, this is akalika. If something happens according to the theory of cause and effect, it's akalika. Timeless also can be used if you get the real meaning. That's it. Any word can be used. Let's use John. But we should know the meaning. That's it. Now, this is timeless. And this has time. We need to talk with the time. Actually, if you talk about yourself, let's do that. Can you remember we talk about myself? Myself. You come to the stage and talk about yourself, but you can't talk about the past and the future. What can you say? Nothing. Because Actually, you are not talking about yourself, ladies and gentlemen, you are talking about the ego. Therefore, next time, when I ask you to come to the stage and say, let's talk about the ego, then you can come to the stage and say, I'm here to talk about the ego. I had this, I did this, and I have a goal, I will achieve it. In the future, I will do this. But in the present, what can you do? I can smell. Not I can smell, actually you can say, smell. A smell. Let me act. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to talk about my real self. That means not this is my name, this is me, this is I. I'm going to talk about this. Listen to me carefully. That's it. Because that's what happened in the present. You perceive something. You perceive it. That's yourself. Then if you want to talk about that, it disappears. Where's the sound? Can you hear this sound? Where's it now? It's gone. You can't talk about that. That's why I told you. You can't talk about the present because that's not regarding time. That incident occurs when causes come together and effect is created. That's an incident. And if you want, we can say it rises and passes away. But in that case, you have to be very careful. When it rises and passes away, then you can say, oh, something is there when it rises. Something is there, it rises, then passes away. It's not like that. Otherwise, you think that it rises gradually, then when it comes to this point, that's the thing which is created. There is no thing to be created, ladies and gentlemen. It's only a manifestation. Everything is a manifestation. It's not an entity. Nothing is an entity. Everything is a manifestation. When causes come together, an effect manifests. Like this. 12. Did I write 12? Tell the truth. Did I write 12? Did you see? Did I write 12? No. I didn't write 12. I only wrote 1 and 2. Then 12 manifests. With that, let me write a word. But let's go to the court and fight for that. Because you might say that I insult you. What did I write? What did I write? F O O L. What does manifest? Then did I write that? Then did I insult you? No. It manifests. What can I do? It manifests. I wanted to write F. I wanted to practice F. F, then O, then L. I wrote that. 12. I didn't write 12. I only wrote 1 and 2. When I wrote 1 and 2, 12 manifests. How long will it take? How many minutes? That's called akalika. That's called timeless. Whatever the name you use, whatever the word you use, that's called akalika. That's called timeless. Now, it takes some time to write 1 and 2. But how long will it take? How long will it take for 12 to manifest? A minute? Second? Millisecond? Nanosecond? Picosecond? No, nothing. With no time, it manifests. That's called anicca, ladies and gentlemen. That's righteousness. Righteousness is very deep. People think that, oh no, I'm righteous. No. Yes, you are good. When you are good, you always say that I'm righteous. And another thing is, some people think that they are civilized. Some, not some people, actually, all of them think that they are civilized. Civilized. What is civilization, ladies and gentlemen? You create your own laws, and you adhere. You adhere to those rules. Then you say that you are civilized. People want to kill animals, and some animals are killed. Some animals are cast away because you need your land. You need your land. What? You need your land? Where is your land? Who has given to you? But you own land. You have lands, which means few pieces of land. You have. One is in Kurunagal, one is in Galle, one is in Kandy, one is in Colombo. You have land. Can any buffalo, can any cow come into that and eat? No, that's yours. Therefore, you made the fence around it. Now, you think that you are righteous, or you think that you are civilized. Yes, you obey your own rules. Because you all have, you means human beings. Human beings have created rules, their own rules. You should respect human beings. Isn't that correct? You should respect human beings, but you can kill cows, buffaloes, pigs. But you should respect human beings. You should help your family. But you don't have to think about others. This is how someone can be civilized. When someone is civilized, they think that they are righteous. I'm telling you, if you are righteous, you will be filled. Have you been filled? Have you got that chance, ladies and gentlemen? Are you filled? If you are filled, yes, you have been righteous. Otherwise, you are not. Let's be righteous. Let's be righteous. In order to be righteous, we should understand righteousness. Anicca. This is anicca. With causes. When causes come together, with no time, an effect appears. This is an effect. This is not 12. This is not unique. This is not one. This is not a unit. This is only a manifestation, ladies and gentlemen. This is only a manifestation. Manifestation occurs with no time. Everything is a manifestation in this world. That's why you can't find the sound that I made. You know that I can't make a sound. Actually, what happened is, sound is created in your mind. How? The rupa is created, then the process occurs, and finally perception occurs. Then you heard the sound. I didn't create it. The buffalo didn't create it. The microphone didn't create it. Your ears didn't create it. Your brain didn't create it. It manifests in the mind. Therefore, this rupa, form, is also a manifestation. And how long will it take? It happens with no time. Vedana, this one. That means not, I would say, notification. When Rupa is created, you can see. That's called Vedana. First of all, Rupa must be created. This color is not in the pen. When you see this pen, this color is created in your mind. When the color is created in your mind, you can see it. That action is called Vedana. When I make a vibration, a sound is created in your mind. Then you can hear it. To hear the sound must be created first. Because I didn't create a sound. I only created a vibration. From the buffle, you got a vibration. From your ears, you got a vibration. Until it goes to brain, it was an electrical energy. Electrical current. It wasn't a sound. But when it comes to the mind, the Rupa, which means the sound, manifests. How long will it take to manifest? Time is not applicable. If time is applicable, then you must apply time here as well. How long will it take? 412 to manifest. When you write 1 and 2. Now you can see, this is a manifestation, this is a manifestation, this is a manifestation, this is a manifestation, this is also a manifestation. And this entire process is a manifestation. Everything happens according to the theory of cause and effect. All your actions, all your words, all your thoughts, everything happens according to the theory of cause and effect. Isn't that the righteousness then? Can you make it wrong? Can you come up with convention and change it? If something is good today, that can be bad tomorrow. Because these are social conventions. But this is the truth. This is what is right. It doesn't have two forms. It has only one form. Therefore, if you can be righteous, the ego never manifests. Then you will experience the mind. This is the path. Then, if the ego doesn't manifest, you don't feel the emptiness you have felt so far. Why? This is the mind and this is perfect. It doesn't have any loopholes. It doesn't have any voids, gaps. But this always has it. Because vexation is there. Desires are there. Wantings are there. Therefore, you always feel a void, incompleteness, unsatisfactory. You always feel these things. I think you should agree, ladies and gentlemen. You should agree. I don't have to come up with examples. You should agree with these things because you are still trying to make yourself happy. You have done 1,000 things. You have tried 1,000 ways. But still, you try to find some other ways to make yourself happy, to fill the void. To fill the void, you need to cease this process. To cease the process, you need to eradicate the ignorance, which is unrighteousness. You need to eradicate unrighteousness. To eradicate unrighteousness, you have to apply righteousness, which means you have to be righteous. This is what the Buddha said. And Jesus Christ said. I told you. Jesus Christ also said, you have to be righteous. If you are righteous, if you hunger or thirst for righteousness, you shall be filled. This is how you shall be filled. That's my understanding, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not saying that that's what it is, but when I read, that's how I understood. This is only my opinion. You can choose whatever you want. Perhaps you can think that Jesus Christ said that if you are righteous, then God will give you a packet of rice and a bottle of water. Because if you are hunger and thirst for righteousness, you shall be filled. Okay. Then when you are righteous, then what? Then you will get a good lunch. You will get good lunch perhaps. Someone can think like that. But when I read, actually I saw something different. That's what I shared with you. And when I read Bhagavad Gita, I saw the same. I was over the moon, ladies and gentlemen, because I had a problem that why people fight, why they can't see the truth. Then when I go through these books, when I went through these books, actually, I saw that righteousness is everywhere. But people can't see. Again, this is my opinion, my interpretation. Interpretations are different. I only see Nibbana in everything, ladies and gentlemen. If you show me a bouquet of flower, I only see Nibbana. I can't change myself. How can I? If you show me a pen and ask me to explain Nibbana through this, I will do a sermon for 8 hours if you want, only about the pen and show you the Nibbana. Because I only can see Nibbana here. Then when I read a book, I only see Nibbana. Therefore, I will give you my interpretation. You may have heard that, but very, very few of you may have heard this. It says, Yada yada hi dharmasya. It's very popular sloka. Yada yada hi dharmasya. Glanir bhavati bharata. Abhyuttanang adharmasya. Tadatmanam srujanmyaham. Then I read the meaning. It says, when righteousness declines and unrighteousness increases, I'll come to the earth with a human form. I said, okay. That's the meaning I saw. But I got a different meaning. I got a different... Because actually, this is a holy book. This must have the truth. I got a different interpretation. Let me tell you that. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati. Glanir means decline. Don't think about those words, but glanir means decline. Yada dharmasya, righteousness. I told you, dharma is righteousness. Dhamma is righteousness. Dhamma in Pali. Same word, Pali. Righteousness in English. Righteousness is in English. And Dhamma is in Pali. Dharma is in Sanskrit. The Bhagavad Gita is written in Sanskrit. Then we use Sanskrit there. But same thing, righteousness, dharma. Now, yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati. That means when righteousness declines, abhyuttanang adharmasya, abhyuttanang increase. And then when adharma means unrighteousness increases or rises. I manifest. I manifest. In the meaning I saw that I manifest myself on the earth. But earth, in that sloka, I didn't see any Sanskrit word for the earth. But in the meaning, they add that word. Why? They means not they. We can't insult anyone because this is our interpretation. Because we want to see everyone like human beings. Not entities. Therefore, we don't like separateness. Therefore, we always see the same. Perhaps that's how we try to identify what is in there. Somehow. Now you can see, I manifest. I manifest. I means the ego. The ego manifests. When that happens? Yada yada hi dharma. Yada yada means from time to time. Or whenever. I'd say whenever. Whenever righteousness declines and unrighteousness increases or rises, I manifest. Isn't that the truth? If you take this interpretation, isn't that the truth? Whether you are a Buddhist, Hindu, or Christian, if you have the truth, you should achieve your salvation, and you can achieve your salvation, ladies and gentlemen. This is what we need to do. We all are the mind, ladies and gentlemen. Actually, you are not a woman, you are not a man, you are not a child, you are not you are not an animal. Everything is the mind. When I make this vibration, a sound is created. That sound is perceived. It happens in the mind. That's the mind. How can you say that that mind is a woman? How can you say that that mind is a man? How can you say that that mind is rich? That mind is well educated? You may have 3 PhDs. Tell me about this. Is this educated? Let's talk about the truth. Is this educated? Is this rich? But you think that you are rich. Because the ego thinks that it's rich. Ego not thinks actually. Ego wants to be rich because the ego wants to be superior. Therefore it acquires everything. That's why you have land. That's why you have cars, vehicles. That's why you have a family. Perhaps not one, perhaps a few. That's the reason. Because you can be superior. That's why you want to be powerful. That's why you want to be strong. That's why you want to be beautiful. Because actually you are running a business. Because you are an entity. If you are an entity, you need to protect it. You need to add. You need to acquire. You need to make it bigger. Because your entity must be bigger. Otherwise, others also have entities. Therefore, if you want to be superior, what should you do? Then you need to acquire more things. But you are the mind. You are not rich. You are not a doctor. You are not an engineer. You are not a principal, a teacher. There is no such thing called you. There is no such thing called I. There is no such thing called others. It's only the same consciousness, ladies and gentlemen. Consciousness. Look. Consciousness. If a dog is there, consciousness is the same. Because it also hears that. Which means the mind is created with the help of that body. With the help of your body, the mind is created. Perception occurs. Consciousness manifests. This is only the consciousness, ladies and gentlemen. But due to unrighteousness, the ego is created. Then you became an entity. After that, you want to be identified. The ego wants to be identified with something because the ego wants the identity. Because it doesn't have any identity, because it is born right now. When it is born, it wants the identity. Therefore, it is identified with the body. This body is conventionally, these bodies are conventionally women's body. Therefore, when the mind is created, the mind, which means when the ego is created, the ego is identified with the body. Therefore, the ego thinks that it's a woman. Otherwise, how this can be a woman? How this can be a woman, ladies and gentlemen? How this can be a woman? How blue color can be a woman? Now can you see that? If there is no such thing called a woman, a man, how can you be a mother, a father? Is this the father? Oh, what is the father? I know it's really difficult for you to understand this because you have been practicing a different thing. You have been practicing unrighteousness, ladies and gentlemen. That's the reason. Actually, we are so fortunate to have the dharma, righteousness, from the Buddha. Or if you are a Christian, from Jesus Christ. If you are Hindu, from Bhagavan Krishna. That's why. That's why I always tell you, you don't have to change your religion, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to achieve your salvation, come to me. Me means come to us, whoever have understood the Dhamma. Come to me with your holy book. I'll show the chapters. You don't have to be a Buddhist. Anyway, because most of Buddhists are only for the namesake. They don't know the meaning of a Buddhist. Being a Buddhist. The meaning of the word Buddhist. Or a Christian, or a Hindu. I know, everyone has a religion. That is money. That is money. Everyone has a path. Actually, religion means that's their salvation. I'm sorry to say that. That's their salvation. They think that if I have money, I'll be happy. Therefore, they have a path. Like we have the Noble Eightfold Path to attain Nibbana, they have a path to earn money. Therefore, somehow they earn money. Then they think that when they are rich, their problems will be sorted. But you all are rich. Most of you are at least rich, ladies and gentlemen. We are the poorest. Most of you have experienced all these things, ladies and gentlemen. Therefore, you know that nothing is solved with money. Nothing has been solved with money. You can eat something. You can have your 4 requisites. Other than that, you can't achieve anything with that. Your salvation is not money, ladies and gentlemen. Your salvation is Nibbana. That means free from ego. If you can do something to free yourself from ego and experience the mind, this is your salvation. And first of all, you need to choose your salvation, ladies and gentlemen. If you think that going to heaven is your salvation, then you are mistaken, you are misguided, you are deceived. Yes, that word is in some holy books. Perhaps it has a different meaning. Then you are deceived. Perhaps you are waiting for Lord Krishna to come to the world and save you. Because he said that, I will manifest myself on the earth. If you get that meaning, what will happen? Then you will wait until Lord Krishna comes to the world and save you. Perhaps some Christian people, they wait Jesus Christ to come to the world and save them. The problem is, then why did they preach? That's my problem, ladies and gentlemen. Why did they preach? Why do we have holy books then? If we have to wait, Buddhist people are waiting for the Maitri Buddha. Everybody is waiting because the ego doesn't want to fight against itself. That's the problem. Who wants to do that, ladies and gentlemen? Who wants to kill themselves? The ego doesn't want to fight against itself. Therefore, the ego always has hope. The Maitri Buddha will come to the world. Let's earn merits to see the Maitri Buddha. Listen the dharma from the Maitri Buddha and attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. You may have heard these words, ladies and gentlemen, but I don't believe that. Because the Buddha taught us, if you want to attain Nibbana, Nibbana can be achieved right now. not in front of the Buddha. If you want to achieve your salvation, it happens right now. Last time we were talking about goals. I told you, please don't have a goal to achieve your salvation. If you have a goal, then you are talking about the future. If you have a goal, you have a desire. If you have a desire to achieve your salvation, you never achieve your salvation, because eradicating the desire, or eradicating desire, is called salvation. Then if you have a desire to achieve your salvation, then how can you do that? How can you have a desire to destroy a desire? You can't. Therefore, this happens in the present. Please don't have any goals in the future. Try now. Don't expect anyone. Don't expect that anyone will come to you and protect you. It never happens. You yourself must strive. Tumme kichang atapang akkataru tathagata. That's what the Buddha said. Buddha never asked from us to wait until the next Buddha. We should practice right now. We should practice. We can. We know the truth. If we know the truth, what are we waiting for? If we have the truth, you just need to be righteous. Whatever the book, whatever the holy book you hold, but you need to be righteous. That's it. Then find the truth. Find the truth. If you find the truth will set you free. Find the truth. Find what is righteousness. That's what you need to do. The Buddha taught us righteousness. There are three things that are right and righteous: anicca, dukkha, and anatta. If we follow these things, then definitely we will achieve this. That's the only thing we need to be righteous. If you are unrighteous, then I manifest, which means the ego manifests. Then you will suffer. I think I don't have to talk about the ego lesson. We have discussed for few weeks about the ego. And you know that this is your enemy. You know that you are restless because of this. You know that you have a void and you try to fill the void because of this. This is the enemy. This ruined your life. Half of your life, perhaps 3/4 of your life. You have perhaps a few years to live. Because this has destroyed your life completely. This is the life. Let's experience this. You should be courageous. Because you always associate egoistic people, ladies and gentlemen. Therefore, you always feed the ego. When they talk to you, they feed your ego. When they act in front of you, they feed your ego. When you read a book, it feeds your ego. When you watch a movie, it feeds your ego. Everyone, everything feeds your ego. Therefore, you are destitute. That's why we always seek refuge in the Noble Triple Gem. That's the only thing we have to seek refuge. That's why I always recommend you to have noble companionship. You have to be with noble friends. You have to associate with noble friends. When you associate with noble friends, they will help you to be righteous. They will talk to you about that. They will preach to you about that. You can discuss about righteousness. Can you discuss about righteousness with your office colleagues? Can you do that? No, they will think that you are mad. Then definitely you will be cast away. I don't think that they will associate with you because you are mad, because you talk about righteousness. You will be persecuted because they don't like righteousness. Why? They are the ego. They don't like righteousness. Try to talk Dhamma. Try to talk the Dhamma with them, then you will see that. Go to your mother and then talk to Dhamma. Talk to her some Dhamma, some about righteousness. They never accept that. Because the society doesn't want this. Because the society is the ego. Everyone in the society, from ants to dogs to human beings, to devas, brahmas, demons, everyone. Wherever the mind manifests, the ego manifests as well. Because ignorance is there, unrighteousness is there, people don't know the truth, people can't see the truth. We need the Buddha to see the truth, enlightened one. We need the enlightened one to see the truth. However, we have it. We have anicca, dukkha, anatta. Therefore, let's practice. Let's understand what is anicca and dukkha and anatta. When you practice anicca, you will realize this. Practice this. 12. Try to understand how things manifest. Try to understand how things are timeless or akalika. Everything is akalika. Every action is akalika. Every word is akalika. Every word you utter, every sound you make is akalika, ladies and gentlemen. But now you know this. Now what should you do? You need to apply. When you apply, that means you are righteous all the time. That's what you need to do. You have to be righteous all the time. And get the real meaning. You are good all the time. From time to time you are bad. Otherwise you are good all the time. You are a good person. That's how you believe. Because you earn merits. Therefore you are good. If you earn merits, and actually you are the pure in heart, you will see the truth one day. I can guarantee it. That's why there is a great saying, blessed are the pure in heart, and they will see God. God, which means the truth. They will find the truth, ladies and gentlemen. They will find the truth. If you are pure in heart, if you are the pure in heart, then definitely you will see the truth. If you see the truth will set you free, which means that when you see the truth, and if you apply the truth, and if you contemplate and if you reflect, one day this process will be ceased. Then you will be free from the ego. That means The truth set you free. When you hear these things, can't you feel that this universe is the same? Everyone is the same. Every religion, everything. That's how we should see, ladies and gentlemen. That's how we should see. You will see that. I told you, I can't feel any different. If I love everyone. I can't see that different. I can't see that difference, ladies and gentlemen. If you feed the ego will separate everything. And then you will see black and white, beauty and ugly, rich and poor. Then you will see problems. Then you will try to solve those problems. When you see rich and poor, you will solve those problems. Then you won't see God. You won't see the truth, ladies and gentlemen, because you work against the truth. Because you try to be good, not be righteous. We need to be righteous, not good. If you can be righteous, anyway you will be good. In Buddhism, you have heard pin and pau, which means merits and demerits. Those are akusal. Let's use the word akusal, and I will tell the meaning. Akusal means feeding the ego. It's so easy. If you feed the ego, that's called akusal. If you eradicate the ego, that's called kusal. Let's use those words, Pali terms, that's fine. The Buddha's language. You don't have to remember that either. Akusal. What do you mean by akusal? Feeding the ego. Then when you earn merits, actually you feed the ego. Let's assume this. You want to help to eradicate poverty. What do you think? Then you strongly believe that someone is rich, someone is poor, poverty is the problem. Then you have seen, actually you are deceived, and you saw that the poverty is the problem. But poverty is not the problem. Unrighteousness is the problem. You saw poverty, you saw rich people, you saw poor people. That's how you saw that poverty is the problem. You have separated the world. You separated the world, and now you are going to solve the problem. Like some countries make a war between two other countries and help them to stop the war, or perhaps continue the war. Actually, this is a little bit hurtful, because you want to help others. In that case, I'm not saying you do not to help others. What I'm saying is, goodness and badness is not righteousness. You have to be righteous. Help others, but you have to be righteous if you want to win. Otherwise, when you help others, And if someone becomes an obstacle to you, what will you do? You want to help others because you are good. But someone is there to avoid it or stop it. Then what would you do? You try to eradicate that person. You try to remove that, get rid of that person, get rid of that thing. That's how anger is created, ladies and gentlemen. Because actually when you want to help others, when you want to earn merits, when you want to help others, you have a desire. The desire is created. With the desire, a wanting is created and vexation is created. Therefore, you need to help somehow. Let's assume that you want to help me. Then you come to me and you want to help me. You want to help me. It is not righteous. You want to help me. Then actually, you want to help yourself. If you want to help me, again, take the word. If you want to help me, you are vexed because you have a wanting. You have a wanting, then you want to help me. Then when you come to me, I say that, no, I don't want your help. Then you say, no, I must help you. You will say that, I must help you. Why? Because you need the help, ladies and gentlemen, because you need to help me somehow. That's how you can come out of vexation, because you wanted to help me. But actually, I don't want you to want to help someone. I want you to need. There's a big difference between the word need and want. If you want something, it comes with a desire. Therefore, you can't come out of that. Definitely, you need to help. But if you need to do something, that means something is necessary. If something is necessary, we will help them. Like, I can preach to you, I need you to attain Nibbana, which means sometimes that's not the proper wording. The wording is perhaps wrong when I say that I need you to attain Nibbana. If I say I want you to attain Nibbana, then that's the correct wording, perhaps. But if I want you to attain Nibbana and if you don't practice, it hurts me. It hurts me, ladies and gentlemen, because I have a wanting. I have a wanting. When you attain Nibbana, I'll be free from that. That means I have the problem. I'm the person who needs help in that case. Therefore, I don't have that wanting. I will preach to you until my last breath. That doesn't matter, but I never expect you to attain Nibbana. I will ask you to attain Nibbana. I don't have any wanting. Because if I have a wanting, how can I preach, ladies and gentlemen? What is the point in preaching then? If I don't, if I have a wanting and I want you to attain Nibbana, then I say, please attain Nibbana, please, because I'm vexed. I have a wanting. No, this is not the way. That's why I told you, we got the right path. Therefore, actually, I don't want myself to attain Nibbana. I don't want, ladies and gentlemen, I practice. I don't have a wanting to attain Nibbana. That means I don't have a desire to eradicate desire. That can't be done. Therefore, don't have a desire. But practice every day. You might think that if I don't have a desire, if I don't have an aim, if I don't have a dream, how can I practice? Because you may think like that because that's how you have been doing something. First of all, you want to make a desire, you want to create a desire and create a wanting. Now you are vexed, therefore you have to do that. That's why some people or some teachers, especially people who talk about positive thinking, they always ask you to write them down and read them every day. When you wake up, you need to go to the board and read your goals. That means every day you need to remind yourself that you have a goal, you have a desire, you are vexed. Try to come out of vexation. To come out of vexation, you build a huge business. You will build it, definitely, because you are vexed. You don't do this for your happiness, ladies and gentlemen. Finally, you wanted to be happy. Therefore, you listen to other people, and they egoistic people, you met egoistic people. Then they told you to have a desire. Then you had a desire. Finally, you had a wanting and you were vexed. To come out of vexation, you had to work. You had been working for 7-10 years. Then finally, you built a business. Can you say that to seek happiness? To seek happiness, I built a business? No, that's how you started. You wanted to be happy. That's how you started. But once you had a desire, you worked only to come out of vexation. That's the tragedy, I'm telling you. Everyone faces this problem, ladies and gentlemen. Therefore, please, don't try to be happy. Let us teach you how to be happy. Don't try. Don't try. If you try, you will be trapped again. Because you will listen to egoistic people, ignorant people, ignoble people, perhaps immoral people. You will listen to them. When you listen to them, they will talk about goodness. Then they will ask you to be good. But if you come to me, I will always ask you to be righteous. If you are righteous, you will be good. Therefore, being good is not enough. You have to be righteous as well. Therefore, if you can be righteous, I proved you. I took the Buddha's sayings. The entire thing is Buddha's saying. It's Paticca dependent origination. Then I got the Bible, and I got the Bhagavad Gita. I showed you that if you can be righteous, you will experience yourself. You will see God, and you will enter the kingdom of heaven. This is the kingdom of heaven. You don't have to die to go to the kingdom of heaven. You have it within you, but the devil is here. Let's kill the devil and enter the kingdom of heaven. I'll see you next week. May the blessings of the Noble Triple Gym be with you all. Thank you.